If you like the idea of dividend stocks but hate the idea of waiting forever to get paid those dividends, then this series is gonna be for you.
I thought he was talking to me.
Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if it's your very first time here. My name is Troy, and in this series, I spend hours doing research to find the hidden gems of the dividend world so you don't have to. For example, this week, there were 66 stocks that had an ex-dividend date between July 28th and August 1st of 2025. 29 of those stocks showed that they can not only pay, but grow their dividend for at least 5 consecutive years, and only 11 of those stocks were able to make the risk of investing into individual stocks worth it by also outperforming the S&P 500 over a long period of time. I then took those 11 stocks and picked my 5 favorites to share with you guys today.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Now, it is very important for you guys to put this series on your calendar and tune in each and every Friday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, because every single stock from today's list is going to have an ex-dividend date of this coming week, which simply put is the date you must own the stock before in order to get paid the next dividend from that company. Before we get to the good stuff, do me a quick favor and tap on that like button, as that's one of the things that you can do to tell YouTube that you like my kind of content. But now let's kick this week's list off with number 5, which is Fastenal, stock ticker FAST. Including today's video, this is now the 4th time I've spoken about this stock right here in this series, including 2 selections in a row. And if you go back to the very first time I spoke about it, which was in episode 71 or October 20th of 2023, Fastenal is up just over 67% since that first mention, and would be higher on my list if it weren't for one number I'll show you here on the next slide. Fastenal is a quarterly payer in the industrial sector, paying 88 cents per share per year with a forward dividend yield of 1.91%. Fastenal has been paying and growing its dividend for the last 26 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 11.83%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 11.92%, and at the time of recording, this is the number I was alluding to earlier, they have a payout ratio sitting at 71.6%, which is higher than I like to see, but again, do your own research to see if that's something that you're willing to compromise on with this otherwise great company. At the time of recording, Fastenal was only trading 0.52% off of its 52-week high. They have an ex-dividend date of July 29th with a payout date of August 26th. And looking at their chart over the past 10 years, you can see that a single lump sum $10,000 investment would have been turned into $57,165.84, which did outperform the S&P 500 by $22,111.03. Next up on this week's list, coming in at number 4, is Morgan Stanley, stock ticker MS. Including today's video, this is now the 6th time I've talked about this stock right here in this series, including 1 selection in a row. And if you go back to the very first time I spoke about it, which was in episode 72 or October 27th of 2023, Morgan Stanley has averaged nearly 55% since that first mention. So we're clearly onto something here, so let's take a look. Morgan Stanley is a quarterly payer in the financial sector, paying $4 per share per year with a forward dividend yield of 2.84%. Morgan Stanley has been paying and growing its dividend for the last 12 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 9.74%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 21.46%, and their payout ratio sits at 41.85%. Now, at the time of recording, Morgan Stanley was trading nearly 3% off of its 52-week high. They have an ex-dividend date of July 31st with a payout date of August 15th. And looking at their chart, you can see that $10,000 investment would have been turned into $46,389.86, which did outperform the S&P 500 by $11,335.05. Next up on this week's list, first one up on the podium, coming in at number 3, is Plumas Bancorp, stock ticker PLBC. Including today's video, this is now the 2nd time I've spoken about this stock right here in this series, including 1 selection in a row. And if you go way back to the first time I spoke about it, which was in episode 138 or January 31st of 2025, PLBC is showing that I'm not always the best with my timing of the stocks on these lists, but I still don't hear this one talked about much. And with long-term numbers like we're about to see, that's surprising. PLBC is a quarterly payer in the financial sector, paying $1.20 per share per year with a forward dividend yield of 2.85%. PLBC has been paying and growing their dividend for the last 5 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate sitting at 23.86%, a 5-year dividend growth rate sitting at 26.64%, and it's sustainable because the payout ratio sits at 21.38%. Now, at the time of recording, Plumas Bancorp was actually trading 18% off of their 52-week high. They have an ex-dividend date of August 1st with a payout date of August 15th. And looking at their chart over the past 10 years, you can see that total return of 425.38%, which did outperform the S&P 500's total return of 250.52%, leading to an outperformance of $17,485.10. Let me interrupt this episode really quick to remind you guys to use the comment section down below, as that is one of the best ways, if not the best way, that you guys can help me continue to grow my channel, and it's completely free. You guys can use the comments to let me know what you guys think of this week's list, if there's any stocks you own from this week's list, and if you do own them, how they're doing for you. But now, let's get to number 2. Next up on this week's list, bringing home the silver medal, coming in at number 2, is Casey's General Stores, stock ticker CASY. Including today's video, this is now the 7th time I've spoken about this stock right here in this series, including back-to-back selections. And if you go back to the very first time I spoke about it, which was in episode 20 or October 28th of 2022, Casey's is nearly doubling up the S&P 500 since that first mention, which isn't easy to do, so let's learn some more on this one. Casey's is a quarterly payer in the consumer staples sector, paying $2.28 per share per year with a forward dividend yield of 0.45%. Casey's has been paying and growing their dividend for the last 26 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate sitting at 12.9%, a 5-year dividend growth rate sitting at 9.34%, and that's super sustainable because they have a low payout ratio of 12.78%. Now, at the time of recording, Casey's General Stores was trading 3.15% off of its 52-week high. It has an ex-dividend date of August 1st with a payout date of August 15th. And looking at their chart, you can see that single $10,000 investment 10 years ago would have brought you a total return of 447.28% versus the S&P 500's 250.52%, which did outperform the S&P 500 in terms of dollars by $27,215.61. Next up on this week's list, the stock you must know about going in the next week, and one of my personal favorite stocks is Costco, stock ticker COST. Including today's video, this is now the 10th time I've spoken about this stock in this series, including 8 selections in a row. And if you go back to the very first time I tried to tell you guys about this stock in episode 19 or October 21st of 2022, you would think that a stock that's been quote unquote overvalued since I first spoke about it wouldn't have brought back nearly 107% since then, but what do I know? Costco is a quarterly payer in the consumer staples sector, paying $5.20 per share per year with a forward dividend yield sitting at 0.55%. Costco has been paying and growing their dividend for the last 21 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 13.5%. They have a 5-year dividend growth rate of 12.53%, and their payout ratio sits at 25.92%. Now, at the time of recording, Costco was trading 11.8% off of their 52-week high. They have an ex-dividend date of August 1st with a payout date of August 15th. And looking at this chart, this is where it gets kind of crazy. That $10,000 investment 10 years ago into Costco, mind you, it's probably been deemed quote-unquote overvalued the whole time, would have brought you back a total return of 680.46% or 22.8% per year, which outperformed the S&P 500 by $42,969.16. Before you guys go, there are 3 dates that are essential for you guys to remember before you leave this video. This video comes out on July 25th of 2025. The earliest ex-dividend date from any of the stocks in today's video was July 29th of 2025, meaning your decision would be due by July 28th of 2025 if any of these stocks caught your eye and you don't want to miss out on the very next dividend from those companies. With that being said, you 100% missed every ex-dividend date from last week's list, but if you guys are still in the market for 5 super high quality dividend stocks, you can check that video out right here. But until next time, see you.